The Indian Navy Day, as all of you know, is celebrated on 4th of December every year to commemorate one of its greatest triumph in war, the attack on the Karachi harbour during the 1971 war. And for some years now, the Navy Day is celebrated outside Delhi to spread the word about Navy's work, to let other people outside Delhi know about what the Navy does and also make them involved. And that practice has now caught on. So this year, the Navy Day is going to be in Odisha on the beach at Puri. But before the Navy Day starts, on eve of Navy Day, I am privileged to have with me the Indian Navy Chief, Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi, who has now spent about 7 months in office after taking over in April earlier this year. And of course, as happens with every chief, is busy trying to modernize the Navy, get new concepts coming in, and also make sure that India's coastline and India's maritime interests are secured. So let's ask him what are his plans for the Navy in keeping with the vision that India has for itself for the next 25 years or so. So welcome to this program, Admiral, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
And let me wish you happy Navy Day in advance.
Thank you. To you also.
Thank you. I mean, keeping with the strength of the Indian Navy, it's clearly, the need for more and more combat effectiveness is sort of felt everywhere, because India's maritime interests, India's own national security interests are growing. So in that respect, like you mentioned, many of the ships are modern. But what is the underlying theme that you have? Because the Prime Minister's vision about Sagar, security and growth for all in the region, gives you much more responsibility. So have you sort of rejigged some of it, tweaked some of the ideas and concepts, doctrines? What is it that you are looking at in the Indian Ocean region?
Absolutely. In April of 2015, when the Honorable Prime Minister first enunciated this vision of Sagar, since then this has become a guiding mantra for the Indian Navy. And we would like, as the largest Navy in this region, to be able to ensure maritime security, not only for our country, which is very essential.
Right.
As you know that 95% of our trade by volume traverses through the oceans.
Right.
And this trend is not going to ease out anytime soon. But also to ensure that other friendly foreign countries, friendly nations in the region are also provided the requisite help on demand whenever they want. So our aim is to ensure that the Indian Ocean remains safe, secure and stable in the coming years.
Exactly, and I think it's a coincidence that this is the 20th year of the tsunami, when actually the Indian Navy came into its own in December 2004 by being the first responder. And since then it has continued to remain the first responder for every requirement in the region, in the maritime domain. Be it HADR, be it disaster relief, be it for humanitarian assistance, everything that you've done that. In that sense, has your cooperation, has the Navy's reach, because of its ties with other friendly navies, sort of increased in this region beyond the Indian Ocean region?
Yes, as you rightly said, that tsunami was a seminal event in the tackling the challenges which are beyond the conventional and non-conventional in that sense. So this was something which was a natural disaster of epic proportions. This is the first time many of us have heard the word tsunami.
Exactly.
in the country.
That's right.
And dare I say that the Indian Navy under the then leadership really came out and we performed really well, not only in our country providing succor to our own countrymen, but also to many of the other nations in this region. Since then, we have laid great emphasis on the preparation for responding to unexpected as against reacting.
Okay.
So we have got a structure, we have got a method by which some of our units are always ready to respond to natural calamities, whether it is in the form of at sea or ashore, typhoon sitting somewhere. Recently, we provided help to two of our friendly foreign countries. One is Tanzania, another in Myanmar. And we have got, I would say, a fully functional structure by which we address this challenge of natural calamities and providing the HADR to the partner nations.
India's ambitions have also grown over these last 10-15 years, that India is now a vital part of the Indo-Pacific, if you just look at the Quad countries in that sense. Of course, the focus remains on the Indian Ocean, but increasingly Indo-Pacific is also now the center of gravity in the world order in that sense. So, how are you preparing the Navy for long-haul operations or long-haul even passage exercises with other navies going right up to the western shores of Japan or United States? Is that a challenge, or is that something that you've been able to manage as far as the naval combat effectiveness is concerned?
So, as I said earlier to you, Nitin, that we have acquired now platforms which have got long sea legs, which have got sustenance, which have got reach, and more importantly, we have got now the structures, the op logistics structures to support them wherever they are. Interestingly, you would have monitored that in July of this year, whilst one of our ships from the Eastern Naval Command was at Hawaii taking part in the Rim of the Pacific exercise.
Yes.
Another ship of the Western Naval Command was in St. Petersburg taking part in the Russian Federation Navy Day.
Yes.
And that exemplified the reach, sustenance and our ability to talk to different partners across the globe. So from the Eastern Pacific to the Atlantic and anything in between, there was a presence of ships. Of course, aircrafts also have gone and taken part in all kinds of exercises.
Right.
We had a submarine which went to Fremantle
in Australia
last year.
Yes.
And therefore, sending platforms to anywhere where the oceans connect is not a problem now for the Indian Navy.
But let me turn to a little bit of geopolitics, because like you said, disruptions have happened everywhere. Red Sea attacks, Houthis have done this, and a lot of shipping gets affected earlier. But Indian Navy has proved itself to be a security provider in that sense in the Gulf of Aden earlier in the previous decade. And now, of course, it is called upon to escort Indian ships or even other ships. In that respect, the cooperation, like you mentioned earlier in one of the answers, that with other navies is increasing. Now Indian Navy has an officer in one of the Central Command in Bahrain,
Yes.
the Navy thing.
Yes.
How has the IFC IOR helped the center that is here in Gurgaon? How has that helped Indian Navy, and what are your plans for making sure that the Indian trade on seas is protected?
I think the establishment of IFC IOR Gurgaon was a masterstroke. It was a visionary step taken by our leadership. What we have done there is that we have made now structures by which we have got collaboration with many of the navies, many of the maritime agencies, through which we are now exchanging the white shipping information.
Okay.
Now, white shipping information, it's huge in the Indian Ocean region and anywhere else. So, if we know the presence of the white shipping, then what is left is only the dark shipping.
Right.
And then it becomes much easier for us to know that this is not something which is to be worried about, because we know the last port of call, we know next port of call, we know who is the captain, who is the which is the agency, what kind of what kind of equipment, cargo, etc. it is carrying. So there is some kind of transparency in that aspect. As far as the dark shipping is concerned, that is where we require the surveillance, the maritime surveillance, whether it is in terms of the satellite surveillance, in terms of the manned aircraft surveillance, in terms of unmanned aircraft surveillance, the inputs from the ships which are in that area, or inputs from some of the friendly foreign countries, as the case may be. In all these domains, we are making progress. You will be happy to know that recently the government has very kindly cleared the SBS3 program, which will provide us in the years to come the satellite surveillance part of in a major way.
Sure.
at sea. And because at sea it is totally different ball game.
Correct.
You could detect a contact today, but tomorrow you may not find him there.
Sure. Suddenly vanished. Yeah.
Vanished there. So it is a different challenge which is there in the maritime domain. We have got the fixed wing part of maritime surveillance, but they have got, of course, limited endurance and limited range. We will be now getting in another few years the predator drones, which will have larger sea legs and larger presence, and therefore the unmanned part will be taken care of. I have no doubt that we are our own indigenous capability will also grow in the coming years, and we will certainly require more of them, and we will get from indigenous sources.
One of the other challenges in this region, if you just take east of west of Malacca Straits, going right up to the shores of Africa, China is a major challenge. It happens, and US also wants India to sort of be the main security provider here. In that sense, how do you see just the challenge of many navies present in this area? Not just the Chinese Navy, which is of course a threat that everyone wants to look at very closely. But when so many navies are here, what is it that makes it unique for Indian Navy?
So this is not something new to the Indian Navy. If I go back almost 23 years, I think after the 9/11, that is when the large number of extra navies came in here as part of the global war on terror.
Extra-regional navies.
Extra-regional navies came in. And at one point of time, there used to be almost 100 plus, 120 plus warships of different navies. We have now come down significantly less, almost half of that.
Sure.
But that keeps varying. So this is not something which is new to us. We are fully aware of presence of large extra-regional navies. Some of them tell us, some of them who can't tell us, we do find out exactly who is operating where. So as far as the extra-regional navies presence here is not a problem for us, because we have got the ability to find out who is where and doing what.
Right.
And the PLA Navy is no different, because anything which is moving on the surface is liable to be detected. Correct. So we know generally who is where and doing what, including their research ships, including their satellite tracking ships, etc. So maritime domain awareness on surface is, I think I would say we are quite good. I think it has been in use for some years now. There are many things which are still being discussed and deliberated. So the foundational agreements were the bedrock on which any future bilateral relationships can be built, including in the classified domain.
Right.
And that obviously is classified. So
obviously, no, it goes forward going that way. But one of the things that also has happened over the past decade or more is India is getting more and more, I won't say permanent bases, but turnaround facilities, OTRs in different countries in the Indian Ocean region at least. How have those helped in, say, Dukum or in other places? Have they been helpful?
Extremely helpful, because our ships can pull in and do the requisite turnaround, or take on requisite fuel, rations, etc.
Right.
And there is no limit for us that you have to move out in 1 day, 2 days, berth is not available,
Right.
etc. So certainly it has helped our sustenance, reach, and the ability to replenish.
Correct.
So that part certainly is a big win for us.
So I wish you all the best for the the Navy Day, as well as what you're doing for the country and for the Navy personnel overall put together.
Thank you very much, and wish you all the very best.
Pleasure.
And I always say that Indian Navy is every Indian's Navy.
Absolutely.
So it is your Navy as much as
Exactly.
ours Navy. And I want to assure the countrymen through you and your channel that the Indian Navy will always remain combat ready, capable, cohesive, and future ready, to ensure that the national maritime interests are always safeguarded anytime, anywhere, anyhow.
Good to know that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.